got a subscriber.
Yeah, we did. I'm going to bring it up. Hello and welcome to Nerds of Legend. This week we're doing a little bit different of a topic this week. We're doing a little bit of a nerd collaboration discussion with Original GM, who you can see below me on the screen. I'm Ben, as always. Next to me is Joel, who's going to be moderating said discussion. And the bottom right is Brendan. And then in the Original GM screen, we have Wachi, Hupahu, and Chikala. And we're just going to kind of talk about our experiences with D&D and RPGs and all that stuff, and just have a little fun little discussion time. So, Joel, will you take us off?
Actually, let's start out with...
I would like to thank our newest subscriber, Alex. Thanks for giving us a little bit of subscribe there. So, go ahead. I don't know why words are being weird today.
That's how you said it. That's the way, not subscriber. You went with that.
Subscribe.
It's all right. You guys have been watching us for a while. You know our experience. I'd like to give Original GM. You guys give us some of your background. How long you've been playing? What brought you into the game?
For me, 1979. Saw my first module. Didn't really know what it was, and I was like, "What is this?" And I started looking at it, and I was like, "Wow!" And the next thing you know, I'm buying a DMG and gaming for my friends, DMing for my friends. Back in the day, that's all we did. Like in our free time, kind of like it is now. But
no different.
Yeah. So I don't know how many years ago that was. 70. I'm 53, so I guess it's been a while. But it's always been a part of my life in one way or another, no matter where I've lived or who was around. And I was hooked. I was hooked right away, and it was a thing of the imagination. It wouldn't stop. And like you guys know, you can go through your daily life thinking about the game, thinking about what the characters going to do, what's going on, what's going to happen. So we were doing that, back in the day. Yeah, all the way back there. And it was new then, so it was kind of considered really nerdy, really geeky. You were looked at as out on the fringe if you were doing that. You were a weirdo. And then the big scare.
Yeah, the Satanic Panic. That was awesome.
Panic. And so everything got thrown away, and I had to find more and buy it again. And that was kind of a reoccurring issue through my childhood. It helped a lot. We played it in school. So those questions we sent you guys, we were talking about doing them together, and all of us answering, or each of us answering, or someone answering it. The first one I sent you was, what was the craziest thing you've ever done for D&D? So,
oh my God, that's a great one.
I told you guys last time I talked to you on the phone, I was like, I have a crazy story. So I want to address first that I do not condone any of the actions that I went through to do what I did today.
Don't do what you did.
Do not do what I did.
I respect the lead up right now, because now I really want to know what you did.
I need to hear the story.
So,
yeah.
There's a statute of limitations.
I went to a huge high school, about 1,500 kids.
Oh, wow.
And it was a big high school. And so we played D&D. Me and all my friends, we started a game, and we would go to, the library during our off hours. Even for lunch, we'd go to the library and play for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever we could throw in. Constantly playing. So we bring our books to school. And so one weekend, we had this big game planned, and I forgot all the D&D books in my locker. And school closed. It was closed. You couldn't get in.
Yeah.
And so some of me and my buddies got together, and we got our ninja outfits on.
I knew where this
no
was
bullshit.
going.
This is a true story. We were ninjas, let me tell you. And all of the weapons, it was crazy what we did. Even eggs filled with cayenne pepper. We were very serious into this. And we broke into the school to get my Dungeons and Dragons book so that we could play that weekend. And as we're doing it, we think we got it and everything, got it in backpacks and everything. We're ready to get out of the school. We see cop lights. And we're like, oh shit. Like, that's the only reason we broke in, was to get our D&D books. It wasn't to steal anything, or that we didn't break anything.
What year was
breaking
this?
in, you know.
Was this 79?
This would have been about 84, something
So-
like that.
Just
Yeah,
to be
I'd say
clear,
84.
that was right about the height of the Satanic Panic when it was starting to kick up, right?
It was 84, 85. Yeah, no, it was.
So you were about to sacrifice the babies. That's
Yeah, you were a Satanist if you played Dungeons and Dragons. So the fact that you brought him to school,
Satanist.
Crazy.
Like,
what's that?
you were a hardcore Satanist. I went to a very, very Pentecostal church, you know, jumping around, talking in tongues.
Yeah.
So just owning a book meant you had demons and magic at your disposal, which was horse shit, because I
Right.
fucking tried,
Right.
and I never did shit.
Well, I was raised Southern Baptist after I was adopted, taken from the tribe and adopted. I was raised Southern Baptist, so I get you. Yeah, same.
Yeah, right there. Crazy train all the way on that one.
I can't tell you how many girls I dated that were Pentecostal though, so I know all about that.
Oh yeah, they're special.
The hand up.
Yep.
But anyway, we broke into the school, and then when we saw cop lights, we had to hide. So we went into the basement of the school where the boiler room was, and there was an area where you could lift up a grate, and there was water. It was like a septic tank, and we went down in there and hid down in there. And there were pipes to sit on. Cops came to the whole school looking for us. We could hear their radios and their lights. They walked above us. They didn't see us. We were hidden in the dark. And then we fell asleep.
What? What?
Leaning on the poles on the wall.
In
cold
boiler
as shit,
water.
shivering. We
In
fell
boiler
asleep.
water.
That was
Woke
such
up.
a journey that just dove off a cliff. You're like, and then all this shit happened. And then we fell asleep.
Right?
What?
And then I wake up and I look over at my buddy who is out cold, and I wake him up. I'm like, dude, we fell asleep. Come on. And I'm freezing, you know. So we climb out. They had already left, and we were able to get out and get away with it. And
All of
we
a sudden,
all
somebody
played,
comes in. I knew it was you.
yeah, we played D&D that weekend, and me and my buddy were, of course, we had a cold. We were sniffling the whole time and sick as
Oh my
dogs.
god, you earned that shit.
We did. It was a great game, though.
Yeah.
It better have been. Like, you should
That
be able to
would've been
actually
that
attack
needed
somebody.
to be the
Like,
most memorable session ever.
yeah, no shit. That better have kicked ass. If somebody's like, that game sucked, you should have the right to punch him in the mouth. You're like, I'm sorry, we're going to actually fight this out. You know what I did to make this game to you?
It's kind of like if you've ever needed to steal food.
Yeah.
It always tastes better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was
know
the
if-
rogue type for real. Basically, is what I'm telling you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that was a legit heist.
Hide check, move silently check. You know.
Yeah.
That's
Some
awesome.
people would probably say I had a little bit of warlock in me since, you know, the day and the time, you know.
Yeah,
So
You failed your
Yeah.
first stealth check, but you nat 20 your second.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Holy
Yeah.
shit. None of my stories are that exciting at all. I've never done anything that exciting for D&D. So,
Yeah,
first, when I only started playing a few years ago. Like, I never ran into anybody. I'm from a small area, not now, but like I live in Naperville, which is the second biggest city in Illinois. My wife's from Chicago, so I mean, like, we got people all around us now. But I grew up in the middle of fucking nowhere, and like, they didn't play Dungeons. I didn't even meet anybody until actually Brian's wife. I was sitting there reading a book, and I'm like, it was like I think it's R.A. Salvatore. And somebody's like, what's that? I'm like, I think it's a fantasy book. You know, I like all that nerdy shit. You know, I'd love to be able to play Dungeons and Dragons. It literally, like, her head just pops in from her office. She's like, what? She had super long hair just hanging out, just a floating head. Be like, did you say D&D? And I was like, yeah, I've never had a chance to play it. Like, it'd be really fun. We worked at this place. I'd cut myself, so I wasn't able to work. I got hurt at work, and so I'm sitting there, and she's like, my husband's a fucking dork. And I was like, okay. And within like 2 hours, I had like a game planned, and like he had a game set up, created a character for me, and he's like, be at my house Monday at 6. I'm like, okay. And then it just went off, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. So yeah, nothing fun. Even though I do remember when you're talking about like the weirdest stuff, like there was a hobby shop in Rockford where I grew up called Royal Hobby, and it's like trains and has all the old D&D stuff. You could buy terrain stuff and little miniatures and all this cool shit, and then like trains and models and all that shit. But we used to go there until it turned out to be a den of evil when they had the D&D stuff, and my parents saw it and they're like, "Oh, Satan lives here." But I remember seeing it was an advanced Dungeons and Dragons book with like the half-naked woman, and I was like a 10-year-old pervert. And I'm like, "This is awesome!"
Yeah.
Like,
The red
then
box.
I looked in it, like I was expecting to see more half-naked ladies. I had no idea what it was. I opened it up, and there was a beholder, and I'm like, "Wow, that's not what I was originally led to open this book for, but I'm into this." So, like, I just remember for like a decade of like sneaking around, like trying to get as much information as I can about what fantasy was. And you have another question that was interesting about alignment. And I've been, and it annoys Ben to death, but I love the alignment. I like the way, like, you are what you are, and I love it. I always have. Look at Ben looking at me like, what? No, I do.
I don't know what you mean by that.
I like the fact of knowing like lawful means that you're going to do this, and
Yeah.
you know, I
we
like
kinda
that.
argue about the differences, but who doesn't?
So check it out. The way that we do alignment is really unique, I think, and I haven't met anyone else that does it. Alignments exist, and of course, there's certain classes that you have to keep a certain alignment to stay in that class. The old original AD&D rules, and since we play that, one thing I always tell my players is remember, you could have a chaotic evil bartender that's never committed an evil act in his whole life.
Right.
And the reason why is your brain is what makes you what you are. That's where it's at. And what you appear on the outside may not be chaotic evil because you don't want to get arrested, right? If there's people, certain people that are going to be akin to doing something wrong are not going to just do it out in the open. They may think about it their whole lives and never do it.
Just thinking of that one person in their basement, like
that's how
"Fuck
we
you,
play
one day."
alignment.
So
You
are
don't
you
have
saying?
to be.
So you're saying my intrusive thoughts are what gets my are what decides what my alignment is?
There's no way to do anything ever unless you think about it first. It starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind by a thought.
Mhm.
And that
That's so
thought
much
does
better.
not have to
I'm
be
gonna-
given to others. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what fetish I have, right?
So that was question 11.
Oh, what?
I don't know.
Let me slow down.
If we had time, if we had time.
Yeah.
If we have
I mean,
time.
we're getting to fetishes in a little bit, but I mean, not right now.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
Alignment is based in that, and it's based in how you play your character. We do it to where until your Lord level, you get a warning before you switch to the halfway point between the two alignments,
Okay.
which gives you no alignment tongue while you're there. You get a warning before you go there, and then if you do something again, then you go there, and then if you do something again, then you switch alignment. So there's like a long process, and between point A and point B of switching from one alignment to the other, you will lose a level. So, and if you're a certain class that does not is not able to be what the alignment is that you had, then you lose whatever that is,
If
So
the barbarian
it keeps
becomes
it
lawful or
Fallen paladins and all that.
See,
yeah.
that's
So
what
paladins
fascinated
in our
me.
world can be lawful good, or you can have an anti-paladin that's lawful evil.
Yeah.
It's not chaotic. It's lawful. It's the two lawful sides.
The
And
duality.
Yeah. So they both. So you can meet an anti-paladin that's lawful evil, and you might think he's a good guy because he has a lot of honor and he has a code that he goes by. You never see as evil, So it just depends on how you play your character.
until
if someone's lawful
until you're
evil,
on the
they're-
battlefield and all of a sudden he's just like stab.
Right. Then you see Rick sword across the ground with a smile and kill the guy with one hit point and kind of laugh at it. You might realize he's evil.
Yeah.
You don't know. You just think he's lawful. So
Yeah.
We
See,
have fun with
that's
that.
the things that I like, because I've always interpreted for 5e, alignments kind of as like selfless versus selfish.
Mhm.
And that's how I've always interpreted it, is like the good is going to do what is best for the group, while the evil is going to do what's best for themselves. And the neutral are like, fuck everybody. But I've thought, like, I've always liked it, but I've looked at it like, I like to play, like, I'm writing a story right now, and I have a lot of characters that are, I have two distinct differences. I have a lawful evil cleric who is accompanied by a true neutral. Yeah, it's Ben's character from a game we played. And then we have a true neutral, like,
Sorcerer.
psychic cat
I thought,
who's like a murder machine.
yeah, I thought
And-
Mr. Whiskers was chaotic evil. Is he not?
No, Mr. Whiskers is whatever he needs to be. He's
That's fair.
he doesn't have ADHD. He does whatever he wants. So, and then
Yeah,
Huh?
we had a Brian actually played a character that was a psychic cat known as a Dreamlands cat. It's from
Yeah.
I can't remember what
the Cthulhu mythos.
is that what it's from?
Yep.
But
And it turns out in this story, Asmodeus is a huge cat person,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he carries around the cat and like just babies it and gave him his powers, and that's where he came from.
Like
Um,
his mini me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the cat like goes off and like kills people, and then he'll like start grooming himself, and everybody's like, who just murdered those people? And the cat's cleaning himself, and they're now like, it's clearly that cat, you know. So it was a lot of fun, but how I kept things in order was Ben automatically, his character Piotr was lawful, so like you knew how he was going to act. He never broke any rules. If he
A
made an
cleric.
agreement, he followed it all the way through.
An order cleric, so like
Yeah,
super
yeah, order
lawful.
So it wasn't just order; it was religion and order.
Yeah. Yes. And it was
Interesting
great
rule, yeah.
because I had one rule, and they could not murder hobo. Like,
Mhm.
they could not go in and kill stuff. They had to. So it was all subterfuge and guile and deception. And, but then every now and then
Right.
they'd have to be like, you have to fight the monster and save the townspeople you're blatantly lying to.
Mhm.
And it was so much fun. It was so, I
Sounds
mean,
like it.
until David's character, who was an undead shapeshifter, ended up convincing a like group of dwarves that he was their god and the originator of their society, and that just derailed the whole fucking thing. And, like, all my notes got thrown out from like a 37 deception roll that he did, and I'm just like, fuck. All this work I've done, I just threw it out the window, and I had to make this shit up for the remainder of the campaign.
So what was funny
Yeah.
was those were all sessions where Piotr's character was Piotr was not able to attend, so that Logie and Mr. Whiskers would go off on their own
They were fucking
and
chaos machines.
create
by the-
fucking havoc. And then the next session, Piotr would show back up and they'd tell him what they did, and he's like, "Can I not leave you alone for 5 minutes?"
Yeah. But that was one we actually had to do a follow-up campaign just to fix the shit that they broke, which was so much fun.
Which was our campaign
Wait,
one. for this
Vixen-
game.
Talking about broken shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No offense, and I mean no offense by this, but how do you guys fix Eberron? What do you do to make it actually? And I mean this as a point, because like in our games, if you watch, we go everything from Spelljammer to Black Powder. I mean, there's
I think
a full gambit and a fullness to the game that
I think
I've been playing this for 40 some years, this world. And so my question, what do you guys do to make it kind of feel right?
so
I know
I
that
think-
one of you mentioned the steampunk stuff you really like, but how do you guys do it?
So I think for Eberron, our solution for fixing Eberron was we didn't play in Eberron for very long.
No. Real quick.
We started
it
plane
honestly-
shifting very early.
It honestly started out with when we played Eberron. I like steampunk, so I came in there and I daydream all the time because most people are crazy boring, and so I daydream a lot. And so I'm sitting there and like I was at work and somebody's talking to me, and I don't know what the fuck they were talking about, but I was just like, wouldn't it be sweet to have like Victorian England and D&D? And then somebody's like, you're talking about Eberron, and I'm like, fucking right on, let's do this. And so I just went all through it. They were in Sharn, and there was Warforged. I was like, all right, and I got my Steampunk Jones off like fucking 3 episodes in. I'm like, we're out. We're going to Sigil. So we started planes hopping. It was originally the going through Eberron, and then I got the idea that their bad guy is going to be Ferris Dune is being released because they fucked up the balance of power from, you know, all the gods that had chained up Ferris Dune by going and fucking up the prime material plane by giving it all to Asmodeus. All the prime gods that had chained up Ferris Dune are now gone or weak. And so there's a power vacuum. And so like his chains that were holding him captive were breaking. And so they just started hopping around the multiverse. They end up spending the most of the time in the prime material plane in Peru, in Alberto Terrell.
No.
Yeah,
So you mentioned
Eberron kind of fun in
Thars
concept.
Dune?
Huh?
You called it Thars Dune? Thars
Ferris
Dune?
Dune. Yeah, is that it? Ferris Dune?
The Forgotten Temple of Tharizdun, one of the original AD&D modules.
Is that how you say it? Well, I said it wrong the whole goddamn
No, I
time.
don't know. You might say it right. I don't know. But
Yeah, well, it was Ferris Dune in that one, but it's the Chained Oblivion.
there's probably at least 50 words that we can discuss that are that way. in D&D, right?
Yeah.
That we pronounce it differently. But yeah, Tharizdun, we did a campaign. I met Gary Gygax, and I kind of got to talk to him. And then he has these novels called the Gord the Rogue novels. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with these, but they're fucking great, man. They're phenomenal. You should look for them if you don't have them. But Gord the Rogue is basically connected to the Lord of Cats, which is in Monster Manual 2, who's considered a demigod. And so he had this thing with that in his books and delving into the lower planes, and he kind of went into detail with these lower plane minions like, you know, Demogorgon and various other, a lot of them, Grozit, the Prince, all that. But Patkind was affiliated with this, and so I took off, after I had this conversation with Gary, I took off and created my campaign with this in mind, that Tharizdun is the BBEG. And the only way to stop it is Catkind. And each cat line had a sword, had a throne ruler, had an item. The prince was a chosen one. He or she would wear a necklace of 9 lives, because you need that many lives against Tharizdun, because he's going to kill you over and over until you get the job done, you know. So each of these weapons is connected to alignments that go around, and also cat races. So you got the lion, you got the cheetah, you got the Black Panther, which is the prince, the chosen one. That's the one that wears the necklace. The lion is law. He's the right hand of the cat lord, lawful neutral. Then you got the polar cat, lawful good. And each of these swords are artifacts, and they do various things based on the personality of a cat. So, like, as an example, the cougar was final word. So no matter if you got killed, you still got to swing once. It was the cougar. And they all had these individual things based, like the cheetah is fast, right? So it's double movement, double attacks, healing half. So you can't get healing. You heal, you don't heal very well. Cheetahs don't heal very well. Then you got the leopard, who is like the false prince, the betrayer, because leopards are kind of that way in that society. And just so on and so forth as you go through. And then you got normal cats, like the black cat, which is considered the familiar of the cat lord. Cat lord sees through the eyes of any black cat. And they have the black cat blade. They're usually an assassin or thief, and it's chaotic evil. Even though the cat lord is true neutral, he has all these alignments that work for him. And in the process of this campaign of, like, I'd say it was like 10 years, finally they met Tharizdun and got to fighting.
It was amazing.
It was
At
least 10
so
years.
much.
It was crazy.
It's really cool.
We're a lot faster now, you know what I mean? Like, we've only been playing this campaign a year now, almost a year coming up, or 2 years, but we started recording a year in.
Yeah.
So we've got, how many episodes? We're at 40.
I think we just released episode 43, or it comes out to.
So 43, right around there. 52 is season finale. So that's what we're building up to in the campaign right now. Is it's coming to our season finale, our full year, and then we're going to start something completely new. So probably in the same world, but
one thing I'm curious about is I see, normally when you see someone nowadays, usually they're doing D&D, they're doing like 5e or doing 3.5. What makes you guys go back to like AD&D or first ed or second ed or that sort of thing?
So the reason we did that is it's the main reason is I started 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So and I did mention to you guys, transferring all this information is like mind-boggling, and somebody told me there's a way to do that.
Yeah.
But what we did in that 40 years, there's probably 3 different DMs, and so there were a lot of house rules and agreements brought in, and also game progression, how we roll combat, how we do certain things was all changed from those original rules slightly to make things go quicker.
Yeah.
Because one of the big things with that is it takes so fucking long to go through combat. So we thought we would do it in a different way. And so if you watch our show, you'll see that it is quicker. All spellcasters go on. So there's a 10 initiative, and all spellcasters go on one segment.
Yeah.
Per spell. Like a first level spell is 1 segment, second level spell is 2 segments, third level spell is 3 segments, and there's 10 segments in a round. And so we roll a 10-sider. If a caster continues over the top of 10 into the next round, they don't roll initiative. They continue wherever that takes them on initiative.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying? So, of course, if they're interrupted, that changes everything. If they use another item, so spellcasting, that changes it. So clerics, druids, magic users, or any specialty wizards of any sort, that's how they go on initiative. Their first initial initiative is okay, but everybody else re-rolls every round. So you add your dex bonus or reaction adjustment. So you could have anywhere from a 10 to 14. So anything above a 10 is considered a 10, but milliseconds faster than the 10. And that's how we do it. So, I know it's completely different than what 5th edition does, but I know that it works for us really well because casters are always a problem, right?
Yeah.
Well, and too, so I thought I was going to be smart with the casting with rings and items, and because technically, if you think about it, if it only takes 2 segments to cast out of an item, you literally could cast 5 or 6 times in one round.
He's saying items take 2 segments, and they do mostly.
And he was
If you have enough
and he
of them.
was like, no, that's too much. So what we're going to do in that case is you only get to use the amount of items that you would have physical attack. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
just like a fighter.
So it kind of put a cap so that I wasn't like way crazy powerful.
So if you're casting,
Yeah, that's like Dragon Ball Z level right there. Like, fucking just throwing shit all over.
Fire!
How many fireballs?
Yeah.
5, motherfucker! You're done.
Instant
Oh,
transmission all over the place.
I'm
yeah.
going to throw
Right.
3 fireballs at you because I got a 10 initiative in this round.
Right?
So yeah, it can work
Ben's
that way.
sitting there writing this shit down for the next time I run. I run a game. Get
It's,
fucked, Joel. I'm sick of your shit, man.
It works with us. If you watch our, if anybody that watches our show, they'll see how it works. I think our combat goes pretty well.
Yeah.
Your
Of course,
show is smooth as it goes. I just don't think I have the brain power for, like that shit's hard. First,
you do it
first
enough
advance
years,
is
you
fucking
just-
hard.
It just comes, you do it enough years and you don't have to worry about it. Like I can tell you any page in the DMG of anything you want to know, I know where it's at. I can, I've done it so much that, my favorite rule from that book? All this
What?
is just suggested in a guideline.
DM's always right.
Oh yeah, Rule Zero's the best. But yeah, I was lucky enough. One of my coworkers is an old school player, and he brought me. I was telling you this on our phone call. He brought me the Immortals.
The white box.
Yes, and I got to look through that. That shit's hard.
Second edition. It's badass, man. It is.
Oh my god, that's second edition. Oh my god, like you got to build a wizard's tower at like 9th level, and then you got to have acolytes. I can't even manage myself in a game, let alone get a whole horde of magic school.
So yeah, that's I guess the other thing is like, how do you guys deal
You
with
gotta
like?
make enough money or your people leave you. Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? I don't need to be abandoned in a game. Like,
Yeah.
I could have issues in real life.
So how do you guys deal with like the I feel like second ed and first ed, they had a very brutal like economy rules and stuff like that. How do you deal with that in game? So I feel like
So
it's
it's
kind
pre-
of like
it's
tending to
pretty
bog
easy.
down things.
It's pretty easy because we just don't use anything but silver and gold and platinum
And Jones.
gems.
Yeah.
You know, we don't use the copper and all that.
Yeah.
You know, we bronze. It's just worthless. Technically, right now, there's hardly any gold in our world
Yeah. Okay.
from something that happened, which made silver the main monetary system. But
Okay.
so is that what you're talking about? Just the economy, economic
Well, I
type?
mean, I feel like so I've read some things about how basically the reason Gary created the system the way it was he wanted to have adventurers had to have a reason for why they did things. So you
Not
have
that they're wildly in fucking dead, apparently, according to the game.
so like it's very
Right,
easy
you-
to like they had to have like a monetary incentive for why they would do these very very dangerous dungeon delves. So it's like the economy is basically like entirely built around trying to get someone to drain the adventurers of funds as quickly as possible so that they go back into the dungeon again.
You can tell Gary Gygax got an inheritance and
Yeah,
everybody
I
wants
feel
him for
like-
money.
I
Super
feel like-
bitter.
I feel like he wasn't making a fantasy game. He was making a fantasy economics simulator.
Dude, I
Right.
lost him
Well,
for the Garden of
economics,
like 4,000
sociological,
gold.
philosophical. I mean, you could count them all. You know,
Yeah.
what he did, the completeness of it all. You know,
Right.
he just did everything he could think about. I don't know. Maybe you need to ask Luke why his father. I wonder if Luke has an answer to that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like being raised in that. But no, it's not an issue with us. Most of the
Yeah.
heroes, you know, we're playing exceptional characters, right? That's how I feel about it. Is that I want the characters to be the epic heroes of the story.
Mhm.
So they end up wealthy and rich. They all do, unless
Mhm.
they're opposed to that sort of thing, like somebody that doesn't take wealth or
Yeah.
something like that. But, at the beginning, it's rough, guys. So what I did was I made these guys experience the original first edition AD&D rules. They rolled up 3d6. You know, I mean, they did the
Oh, my.
whole original thing with their characters to start off with. I did not include second edition until we rolled the second level of characters up, and we went from the very basics. So they were in the Caves of Chaos. Our world starts keep on the Borderlands. That's where they're at. They rename it Beacon, but they go to the Caves of Chaos and come back, and go to Caves of Chaos and come back. It was rough, and you could die. I mean, there was food, water, bathroom breaks. I mean, if you didn't do the whole thing, I mean, I was very strict.
If we didn't go to the bathroom, we got sick.
Mhm.
Yeah, if they didn't eat right, if they didn't sleep, you know. But now they're epic level, they're legendary. So none of that is an issue. Like
They
it's
can
never
take a piss
part
on
of
the
his
move
truck.
now.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. But you know,
That's-
rotten
that's
food,
insane. Like,
diseases.
That's
All that.
hardcore.
Yeah.
And
Now,
I mean,
the
I
second
thought it was
edition-
rough when you find out the wizard only has like one spell and one hit point at the beginning. Like, if you roll bad, you can have one hit point. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
bitching
maybe
up a
first
storm when
level
I've got an
is
8
go.
and 9 on first level and an ass load of cantrips. I'm like, this isn't fair. You're
That's
like,
all.
I got a stick.
So
I got a
it's
stick
epic,
and magic
though.
missile. That's it.
Yeah.
You start out rough, but you're proud of your character by the time your character's legendary. You're like, the shit I've been through, they can tell you their experience.
We're not.
Her neck. You know,
I know
she's,
they.
you know, she started off with low hit points and struggling, and +1 weapons were a fucking huge deal at like
Yeah.
3rd, 4th, 5th level. That's a big deal,
Yeah.
you know. But now they have artifacts, so
Yeah.
multiple. And I think that's how the game was based, was to make it tough, but then at the higher levels, you have the ability to be epic or legendary characters. And
Oh, yeah.
second edition, the only thing we use at a second edition is the proficiencies, weapon and non-weapon. That's it. Everything else we've just let go of. We don't use it because it doesn't work. You know what I mean? If you try to try to use them both. We do spells too for clerics. We do spells, but out of the second edition. But yeah, and it all works. It's from years of not having any other choice and creating your own system. Do you understand? Like it's a thing. So most of the characters at high level have, besides their saving throws, they also have magic resistance.
Yeah.
Everybody usually at high levels gets some sort of magic resistance, so you'll be immune to a spell or a thing.
Oh, right. Not just resistance, but like immunity.
What's that?
Not just resistance, but like immunity, like full immunity, like hitting the face with a fireball and you walk it off type shit.
Yeah. So the way that the saves
that's how I got.
You make it, you're done.
And against the demon lords.
Yeah. A lot of the monsters
crazy.
You'll look and see Gary created a lot of the monsters with a magic resistance, a base magic resistance that they have. And so we just transferred that over. Why wouldn't you, to the player characters as well, with certain items or whatever they might be. And in my world, if you have an artifact, there's something fucked up. Trust me.
Yeah.
You get burned enough times, you don't care about getting set on fire anymore,
I just want to hear more about the why is it it's fucked up if you get an artifact. Like, are you saying like somebody be like, oh, this is a ring of fire resistance, and then suddenly like a dragon attacks you? Is that how it works? Or
no, they know that there's a chart that I roll off of in the DMG, and that if you have a magic item that's an artifact, there's going to be a defect when you do something or wear it or use a power. There's going to be something because that's how Gary did it.
Like a cursed item.
It might be something as small as your hair turning white,
He loves
or it could be that your communist becomes 3.
Yeah.
Your looks, your charisma, and communist are 3. So we use charisma and communist from Unearthed. So we have 7 stats instead of 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. That sounds like you take them on a journey.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's like phones up, like make sure you're paying 100% attention because it sounds like you're
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there being like part of me's listening to him like, why are you angry at your players?
Right? They do really well. They're
because they're
really
scared of death.
I mean, she just lost a character. One of hers just died.
Oh, no.
And it was epic.
It was epic.
It was epic. I don't remember what the episode's called, but to lose a character after playing that character for 6 months, 9 months.
Honestly, in your murder world, it sounds like, absolutely.
I think if Joel
whatever's in the world,
I feel her loss right now, and I've just known about it for a few minutes.
I think if Joel would have killed Ticto, I would have cried a little bit.
Oh my god, you would have cried like a little
So I had to ask her, moment, are you okay? Tell what you think. What?
No. So for me, it was epic because the way that it played out, I don't know if you guys saw any of that. Oh, have we not released that yet?
We have.
Oh,
We have.
Okay.
Sorry.
Spoilers. Yes.
Yeah, so her whole thing was she was the chosen one who was supposed to defeat what we thought was Bahamut. Long story short, she ended up completing the task, killing the creature, and in that, it killed her. But she arose. To a goddess, to become a goddess, which obviously I don't have that character anymore.
I mean, technically you could still play her, kind of. It's just unfair.
So eventually, that might be an option. So maybe she didn't lose her character, but that's only at that's at the big level. It's probably going to be a year from now, like next year's season finale, maybe around that level where a character like hers could be played.
Oh, that's awesome.
But my feelings weren't hurt at all. Like, it was really exciting and cool. And, I've been playing since I was in my 20s. I've never had a character arise. I've seen other people have characters arise to be avatars, to be demigods, I've never had that experience. So my feelings weren't hurt. I thought it was fucking epic.
That is pretty great. Like, because like you don't see that in 5th edition very often of like people arising to godhood.
So
I mean, I did in my campaign, but that was just because I wanted to lead up to another campaign where they now get to beat their own godasses.
I mean, if
But,
you look at like the character descriptions for level 20, they're pretty much demigods anyway. But
Yeah, but they're not. They're just kind of. They're. I mean,
one thing I was confused by during your story. Sorry, I was a little distracted because my kid decided to run in the room.
That's all.
Yeah, playing with
It's
some
all
Play-Doh. So I heard you say that you were trying to kill Bahamut. Why were you trying to kill Bahamut? Are you guys evil campaign?
No.
No.
So, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, we just hate dragons. Oh, I see.
Take it.
Bahamut decided that he was gonna kill millions of people on our planet to
Oh,
balance
no.
things out because they were unsavable. So we decided he was
Oh.
the evil one.
Yeah.
That seems like
Like his thing was all
Okay.
human beings.
all right.
Wow.
All
All right,
all
I understand
humans
now.
are
He was very.
Someone's
gracious.
getting their campaign ideas out of the Bible.
Yeah, someone went Old Testament on somebody. Bahamut went full Old
very
Old
racist
Testament.
in the fashion that Dragonkind are the only, they're the only ones that in his mind needed to survive because mankind was ripping shit up. There's a big long story behind it, but she didn't kill just Bahamut.
No.
She killed
Tiamat.
Bahamut and Tiamat.
in
Yeah.
an egg.
So
They had become. Go ahead, you tell them. They become an egg.
what
Okay.
happened was Tiamat's soul was trapped in a blade, and the blade got smashed with another soul-sucking blade. And then that same blade hit Bahamut, and so the soul of Tiamat went into Bahamut, and then they became an egg, and they were
They fought.
born.
They fought, and then they just became an egg, like they were being reborn.
And we ended up finding the egg. While
So
it
you're
was
you're gonna end up with
Yeah,
a
but-
neutral dragon,
That
which
was
would
the
be
creature was Tiamat,
you're gonna
and it
end
was a
up
combination of the
Okay.
two dragons.
Yeah, that's cool.
basically
Yeah.
you're gonna end
Guys,
up with a
if you
neutral
check it out
dragon,
on our
which would be
channel,
bad news
it
for
is
everybody.
great.
A neutral dragon that just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ray
Okay.
and Velia Shadow Sessions. Look at that one, and you'll see that's when she dies.
Okay.
So we
Imagine
do sessions, and then we'll have shadow sessions just appear randomly within our season, and those are sessions of particular characters, whether it be an NPC that a player character goes along with on a little quest, and what that's for is we may be busy, and I may only be able to play with one or the other, so we'll do a session together, even though the other one can't have that session at that time. Feel me?
Yeah.
So it's personal goals of the characters that they want to accomplish. They get to go with the DM and without any other characters around, players around, and do their thing.
Those are
That's
always
cool.
good quests. Those are so much fun.
I need to. So I don't know how much you guys have watched of my DMing so far. I started about a month ago, or 2 months ago. I guess now. Wow. DMing our current campaign. And,
The Candlekeep.
yeah, Candlekeep. And I am a newbie DM compared to everyone in our group. And
I'm just a storyteller. Like I don't even
Yeah.
know if I follow any lore. I just
no,
make shit up. as I
you just
go.
like, if you'd be happy if we didn't have any encounters ever and we could just role play all day.
Correct. Correct. And then randomly I just throw whatever the fuck I make up at you. Yes. Honestly, I've role played so long they're like, can we fight something? No. Shut up.
No, I have to tell my story.
I like storytelling. Like I am very much a storyteller.
That's what it's about, really.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but apparently the players want to do something, and I'm like, shut up, nerds. No.
I have a barbarian. Barbarian wants to hit things. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Here's a magic sword. Be quiet.
I didn't spec my character. I didn't spec my character for non-combat. So, give me a little bit of something. Something. Come on.
So we had a question about what's your favorite character? What's your favorite character class?
my
and
gosh.
what's your favorite character race? Brandon, I want to hear what yours is.
I mean, it's got to be caster. I think from a very base standpoint, if you're playing D&D, I mean, it's an escape. It's very core. You want to do things in D&D that you normally can't do. Like you go back to the Great Depression. It's like the number one growing economy in the Great Depression was Hollywood. It was like, you know, it's like I don't have a job, I can't eat, I don't own a house. I'm gonna spend this dime on a movie. I'm gonna, for an hour, or back then 2 hours or 3 hours because the movies were longer. I'm gonna no longer be in the Dust Bowl, and I'm gonna be somewhere fantastic and interesting and new. D&D's no different. I'm, I don't know, a UPS delivery driver. I work in a cafeteria. I'm a security guard, but now I am this. So it's an escapist fantasy. It can be like a Faustian power trip. I mean, it really depends on the person, but no one plays D&D to be a half-orc cafeteria worker, right? You are in the game to do something fantastic and great.
Yeah.
What
I don't
helps
know.
you?
I had my barbarian accountant. That was pretty great.
That's fair. Now what helps
No, but
you?
that's fun.
What helps you to do things of great power and magnitude, to me, is magic. Like, you can swing an axe now, like right now, you wouldn't last very long running around a shopping mall with a, you know, two-bladed axe. You can do that in D&D, but for me, it's like being able to change the force of gravity, being able to funnel poison gas out of my mouth, being able to go invisible, being able to read minds, like that
It's
is
natural.
is capable with magic. And I mean, depending on your
So
proclivity.
I bet you play a different race than human every time too, don't you?
No, he doesn't.
I'll
actually.
try. Well, no,
Huh?
I mean,
Doesn't tend to.
the one I'm doing now is, initially we had a three-person party where one was Aasimar, one was Tiefling, and so I designed a shadow touched human. The whole thing was a metaphor for them being the on my shoulder, them being like the voices
Nice.
there. And so I actually went with a shadow touched human who was like learning nascent magic powers and having to deal with.
Is that the present campaign?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like how you
That's
say
what
like
Joel's
we're supposed
DMing.
I'm
Joel,
supposed
are they really the angel and the demon on the
No,
shoulder?
no, Ben's DMing. I play an
Yeah.
autistic tiefling who has no social skills.
Who's
So
Yeah.
my tiefling doesn't understand social
Yeah.
cues or any kind of anything.
Mhm.
So Ben, is
Yes.
it really the angel and the demon?
So not like literally, like just like metaphorically, they're both
But
like.
that was your idea.
No, well, we kind of just talked it out, and the whole thing was like by happenstance. Joel and Brian had chosen a tiefling and an Aasimar, and then me and Brendan were talking through his character, and we toyed with the idea of having him be like a fae person, but then we decided it'd be more interesting if he was like the one like sort of like strand of like normalcy that was in the group, but like he has sort of that otherworldliness to him as well. So he's a human, but is shadow touched, so he has that like he has that
Connection.
Shadowfell background. So he has this sort of thing that's going on to explain why he has these like latent magical talents that are showing up.
So did they do that? Did you as the players do that?
It just happened.
So it just happened.
Yeah.
So the
Gotcha.
tiefling and Aasimar
That's
happened.
why I love D&D.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
One of the cool things of us playing, this is Brendan's first campaign with us, but Brian, Ben, and I have been playing together for years.
Mhm.
And so one of the cool things is this is the first time I haven't been the DM, which is awesome. But whenever they'd be like, I have a character concept, and I'd always be like, I don't give a shit. Just bring it to the table. I know you're gonna play. Like, I don't need to prepare. Like, I like to be surprised too, because I like to roll.
So,
with the
so you
punches.
let them do all their backstories. That's how they would prefer it?
Yeah, and then I want them. They could tell it to me. They could just show up. They could do whatever. Like, I like to be surprised because I played with them so much. I know for a fact all they care about is playing. So like, they're not gonna bring in anything. You're not gonna get a person who's deliberately gonna be like, I'm gonna kill the whole party, or anything. Like, they're gonna bring something. They're gonna ask for what's the setting, and they're gonna bring something that fits that setting. And
That's
it's gonna
freaking
be
awesome.
It's
I
gonna be
love that.
weird as
That
shit.
seems to be the norm now, like with 5th edition. if we look through the memes and all that stuff, you find out that people are doing that like they're creating their own backstories. Kala wanted to talk about that. She wanted to like tell you guys what her take on it was because of the because of creative characters.
No.
Remember?
Totally blank.
About allowing the DM to have control of that. Like we had discussed that before.
So, the way
Like I give them the option to do it themselves, but you know what they decide? They decide to have me do it.
Okay.
So the way we do it is we roll social class on percentile dice to determine first, like, where you're from, if you're like a peasant or if you're royalty or whatever, and then we go from there. We'll give our backstories to him so that he can weave them into the world in a more efficient way, because he already knows what's there. So if we're like, I want to be, you know, a prince or a princess of this over here, like we don't know what's over there because it's already set in stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we kind of
Really
just
cool.
give him that freedom to do that, and it
So-
makes it really cool.
Me and Joel are a little different on our approach for that. So like Joel preferred it if we like didn't tell him anything about like our character.
Oh yeah, I like to roll with it. Like I like to roll with it, and there are times the dice has made my decision in the middle of the game. Like I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this one, and I'll roll a dice and make the decision right there.
Joel
I don't
is-
care who you are as a DM, that will happen.
Yeah.
He's the best at it that I've played with. But I like basically what I
literally
wanted.
pull bullshit all day,
Yeah,
every day.
he will just pull shit out of his ass like all night, and it'll just work. But what I asked the guys to do for my campaign was I asked them, I wanted a backstory, at least like up to like why you became an adventurer, because it's first level. So like, why did you set off on your journey? And then
I think mine's like 3 pages long.
yeah, Joel wrote 3 pages.
Let me give you my novel, Ben, and next month we can
Oh,
play the
he
game.
told me
I
he
said-
gave me a page limit.
drop
He's like,
my
you can't
manuscript.
go through
I
this.
did give him a page limit because I knew he could write a novel on it if he chose.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So
I
I
have
asked for like,
I have
two,
like,
like 1 to 2.
7,000. I have like 7,000 words on like a 2-minute interaction
Yeah.
that Ben and I had when I was writing our last campaign into a story. Like I think I have 7,500 words
Yeah.
on just an interaction. It was like, you want to take souls? And he's like, fuck yeah. All right. I turned that into like 2.5 chapters.
So
So I can bullshit if I need to.
So what I did was I made a I wanted them to have their sort of like people that they're connected to, sort of their like, maybe they're connected to like a group, a mob, or like a person, so just so that like I have something I can like, because I'm working off a module, right? Like it doesn't give me that much to work with, but like if I have these little like names and things, I can like sprinkle that into the module, and then it adds a little bit more of a personal thing for each character, which I've started to do. Our most recent episode, Joel's character went. We went to visit his
Not mother.
his not mother, his adoptive mother, to perform a resurrection, and shenanigans ensued, and
What shenanigans? She just took her clothes off and brought her
She
back
did.
from the dead. There was no shenanigans. She
That's
just got
shenanigans.
naked and brought somebody back.
She's like, I basically like changed all the details he had like told me in his backstory, because I was doing it on the fly about like this person.
Oh yeah, he
but-
made her an old lady. She was like a
She was supposed to be a middle-aged human. I turned her into an old like.
yeah. She's supposed to be
elf.
like you know, like roughly my age, like mid-40s. Like
Here,
you're
take
like,
this
ah,
chocolate
she's
milk."
90. No,
It was funnier my way.
yeah, what? He turned her into an anime grandmother.
I did.
One of the things that we do with backstories too, that we did with like our second characters that we rolled up, is so we start at 0 level,
Oh.
and we'll actually play out our backstories as 0 level and go through, and like that'll decide your alignment, where you start the game at, all of that stuff.
Okay.
And that was
Yeah, that's
You can
I've
actually
wanted to
play out
do
your
that.
backstories as you
Yeah,
play.
same here.
There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like
actually-
Dungeon Siege? You know, like you're just a farmer and then you have to pick up a stick and start hitting stuff, and now you're better at hitting stuff.
so there's this
That's fucking
uh,
awesome. I wanted to play a game like that so bad.
there's this
So
like
if you look in under the original Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Unearthed Arcana, you'll see that they have the rules for 0-level characters to
Yeah.
roll up. So you can play that out. You can get things called insights and great insights. So and bonus non-weapon proficiencies that
Yeah.
you wouldn't normally get, but you get because you roll so high during your gameplay of your 0 level. It's like some of them, they have abilities that they'll never use, and then they've got abilities that they gained that they would have never gained because the 0 level campaign that they did. So this is really fun. I love that part of it. It also determines your stats, your class, your alignment.
yeah.
You're in charge of all of it
In
By-
game play.
by how you act.
Yeah.
That determines what your class becomes and your alignment and all of it. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a
Twinks
blast.
of-
Like,
the
There
Twinks
was,
of Beacon series, we're going to post up eventually, and we may have already done that, but we talked about it. I don't know if we did, but post up our process from 0 level
No.
or do a video and show people how to do from 0 level to first.
Mm.
And you can put that in, like, if there's multiple players, if you got 3 players, you can put that into 3 sessions.
Mhm.
With all of them together at the same time, going off in their own different directions, whatever they're doing. Like if they want training as a wizard, they're going to have to go
To Wizard
Find a
School.
wizard.
Yeah.
find a wizard,
Yeah.
something or a magic user. So cool. So yours was human mage right now. I really wasn't saying like what's your favorite class right now and race right now, but because I could choose, we could choose characters what your favorite character is, but overall, what is your what are all your guys' favorite characters
Mm.
and races and classes?
I would say that, well, disclaimer, I'm a perma DM, so this is the first time I've actually played a game, and probably, not counting like Gen Con, probably the first time I've been in a campaign since college.
This is probably like
So-
2015.
So
2016.
yeah, the character I'm playing now is someone from a magically gifted family that their sister was given position and nepotism and stature in society, and he was sort of given away in an apprenticeship because the family didn't have enough money. And what they didn't know is that he was consigned to a front for a criminal organization. So he's been trained his entire youth to break into a specific place, and so now that he's free due to entropy, is trying to figure out his latent magic abilities.
So he's a rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
multi-class because he's 2 now. But yeah,
yeah.
But I like casters by preference are my favorite because of the reasons I had said. The same reason that I like casting is the same reason I prefer DMing, because we've all had that one experience where you're maybe in high school, you're maybe 10 or 11, and someone's DMing running the game, and you Joel knows this, put in way too much time into your character, and you go to the game, and there's one person that's there for the sun chips, one guy's there for the Xbox, someone's is like, is anything else on TV? And you're like, oh no, I put in all this time and no one else, DM included, are as invested as I am in this right now, and I'm kind of left to, So I was like, fine, I'll do it myself. If you're the DM,
so his
and
favorite character class is DM, is what he's saying.
Yeah, favorite character class is Dungeon Master. I gotta say, I fall in the same vein. Like,
so if you're the DM, nothing you do is overinvestment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the amount of time you put into
You're
it.
just building your world.
Yes, the players have to eat that much at the table. Now, the thing I will say is, there's one way you can overinvest as the DM, and that is to assume that your party will stay on the rails, because they won't. It's just impossible.
Oh God, no. I have never hated Ben and Brian more than when I'm DMing for them.
I can't be thrown off. I've never been thrown off, not once in my campaign, and that seems like a brag, but it's the truth. I have enough understanding of what's in that world. And like I told you guys before, what's in there's in there. If you go to the cave with the 50th level badass and challenge him, that's what you do, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to save you.
Prep time saves you.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and
See, I'm good at rolling with the punches, so I prepare, like, again, as like Brendan, I love DMing. That's my preferred. But I'm adaptable. So I normally would do 5 or 6 different. I don't plan as deeply as like this cave has this monster in it. I know you go this way, you're getting fucked up. You go this way, you might not be. You go straight ahead, you'll be all right. Like, that's kind of the way I go with it. And sometimes they turn to the left and they get fucked up. Sometimes they go to the right and they're boring as shit. And the adventure's straight ahead. Like, I usually plan several different options because I know for a fact when I do that, Ben's going to be like, I'm going to turn around and go back and just fuck it up. But,
That's not me. I always push the story along. Don't.
No, you're the best. You're the best. Also, I learned as a DM is identify your plot horse. Like the person that you can entice to go in the right direction. Ben is my plot horse. Like if anything needs to go, I'm like, Ben, is that a spell book over there? Holy
It's
fuck!
like, oh, I believe
He's
it
off
is.
to the races. Like, yeah, he'll follow anything. It's like
anoint him as the
out with my
protagonist.
fat ass,
Yeah.
You know, like is there
Yeah.
cake over there? Yes, the way.
You're the chosen one. You are the protagonist. I
Fuck
anoint
it,
you.
I'll be Naruto. Fuck it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
outside.
it's going to happen, whatever you do, no matter which way you go.
Yeah.
It's already that way. And the world continues on the timeline no
Yeah.
matter what you do.
My
So,
next
to be
campaign.
honest with you, no
The next-
campaign is mine. I created it, but every single one we do, they change it. Every
Yeah.
single one they do, they add their point to it, and it changes things. It gives a different viewpoint. That's why I love the game, is they add to the game and create things that I never imagined would happen.
Oh
But
yeah.
because the world's so stable and it's 40 years of me doing this, you really, like, I can tell you every bartender's kid's a name and all, you know, I mean, I've been doing it so long that I can tell you everything.
See,
And
that's
even if I
what's
couldn't-
incredible. And then just adding one person, that shit's totally different. And the replay value of Dungeons and Dragons is amazing. And that's why I keep coming back to it. I can play Descent to Avernus 9 different times, and it's gonna be a different game each time, and I love it. So even though my next campaign, I am planning on doing some deep preparations. Like I've got stories upon stories. I'm gonna put them into a world and then see how many people I can murder. Like just see how it goes.
Well, before we quit, that question about mental illness or mental illness,
Oh, yeah,
mental health, but not just that one. I wanted to ask you real quick, just through everybody, to see who their favorite artist is. Because art can inspire, you know what I mean? And art is one of those things that it either sparks an emotion in you or it doesn't. So let's just go through the line and tell you guys. You guys tell us, and we'll tell you who our favorite artist is, and then
Like
let's talk
artists
about
across
mental
the
health.
board.
That
Because
question.
because I'm
I know
not
it's
familiar
hard.
with, huh?
the
No.
modules.
I know it's hard.
Yeah. Your favorite artist who did like D&D modules or resources.
Oh, I don't know any of those. Like I don't
Well,
know. the name.
Okay.
or any artist
Or in
that's
general?
fantasy oriented is
general.
fine, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll work too, Brendan.
I love that question. As a person who's cursed with wanting to be creative and being limited in ability, for AD&D Gen 1 stuff, I really like Roslov. I know a lot of people go towards Jeff Easley or go towards, oh man, like Keith Parkinson or something, but I always like Roslov because the art it's almost like Vanguard. It's very, like when TSR didn't have a lot of money, he did a lot of interior work with just inks. He did some work for the cover modules, but as you go into like the Dungeoneering guide, he did the majority of the Dungeoneering guide book. His style sort of evolved. It was a little bit of high fantasy, but there was still that simulation aspect. If you look at second ed as it goes into third, the characters become paragons. They become larger than life. It's like, you know,
Avatars.
yeah, avatars. Roslov's style is very much like it matches the mortality of first ed. It's like it's a simulator. You have
Was he
Armor
the
that- Yeah, go ahead.
Was he the second? Was he the red box artist?
He did mainly interior work, and then
Okay.
he did some modules. He was not the red box artist,
Okay.
but it was just from a functional perspective. Anatomies were not divine. It was a very sort of realistic yet iconographic style. I really enjoyed. If you're talking about a style that, like an artist that determined an entire campaign setting or an entire mentality, I have to say Gerald Brom, who is the voice, the vision for Dark Sun. Like the entire campaign
That
setting,
was amazing.
he just set the entire tone for what that was.
For sure.
Magic,
Rikus and Neva and all of that. It's
yeah,
the dragons, it was
the
fucking
prison,
great.
the prison
Yeah.
pentad, yeah. It's like metal, barely any. Goblinoids destroyed. Planet ruined. It's like
Yeah.
everyone's jacked, everyone's pissed off. It's just Thomas Boxa did art for some of the modules, but like Brom just set his very
It was a great setting. I played it and DM'd
Yes.
it both. It was a great setting.
Oh, it's so
It
much
really
fun.
was. Yeah. So I'll go next. My favorite was Jeff D.
Yeah.
I happen to be an acquaintance with him. I know him, and
Oh,
he's
wow.
a friend of mine. But this is the cool thing about Jeff D. is long ago when I first started looking through things, that's the art that I saw, and it sparked. So it has this feeling, even though it's old school. And he even did some, some outlines, and like he did the Ditches and Demigods, the Melniavone, the Cthulhu, the Norse, all that is him. And he's an amazing artist. So I like him because he sparked that in me initially. But really, Larry Elmore is in my heart. The Kryn books. I don't know if you got. I can't. I just can't let him go. So he's my favorite. And my other is inappropriate to talk about.
But amazing.
But amazing. I know Chikala might mention it though. What's your favorite? Go ahead. Tell me. It's gonna blow your mind.
It's what is his name? Luis Royo? Is that how you say it?
Luis Royo.
It's very adult, but like
Not safe for work if you're googling it.
Yeah,
Go on.
100%.
Yeah, he's amazing.
beautiful. Like, and it actually makes you feel something, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
what do
similar,
you mean?
it's similar to Frazetta. A lot of Frazetta's work is latently erotic. A lot of
Yeah.
but still it's
Yeah,
still
I
like
kind of like Boris Vallejo, but
yeah,
what about
Vallejo,
you?
like yeah.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite fantasy artist is Chikala.
Oh,
I'm biased, so
she is really good. She is.
Hey, good art's good art, and if it evokes emotion, like the connection that you had to Jeff D, like not only is there appreciation for the form and for what it means, but you have a connection with your past and with who you are as a person to that art. Like if emotion evokes something from you, that's what art does.
That is art teach individual. That's why beauty
Yeah.
is in the ideal of the beholder. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, I've never been a beholder that has beauty coming out of its fucking mouth.
That's fair.
I would say my favorite is apologies, I don't know the names of the artists, but I did watch that Amazon documentary about the Eye of the Beholder, and I thought
I watched that one too. That was awesome.
the guy that has basically been their dragon guy from like the beginning. He like basically was the
Tradition.
yeah. He
Elmore.
did,
I think we're talking about
was it
Elmore,
Elmore?
right?
It's probably
Yeah.
I
Elmore.
think so.
Yeah.
He also
because-
he did the Red Box, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So he did the red box, but he was also like, he basically created like all of the concepts for the different dragon colors. But he didn't just make it like, because before that there was just like you had Smog. That was it.
Yeah.
There's red dragon. But then, he's like, all right, the black dragon is not going to be the same as the red one, and he just actually was amazing about it, and I think that was really, really cool when I was watching that.
Because Elmore was the dragon guy.
Yeah.
For first at AD&D. If you look at third ed, all the dragons, the chroma was done by Todd Lockwood, but he also essentially was
him too.
Lockwood was the vision for third, much like Brom was the vision for Dark Sun. So that was very much his baby.
Kind of airbrushy looking on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's cool. So what about you, Joel? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with for artists, not so much an artist, but and it's a personal thing, but I like the cinematic style, the Rankin Bass cinematic style, like The Last Unicorn, the Flight of Dragons. I think they did the original Lord of the Rings, because those
Ralph Bakshi, the rotoscoping.
they were like back in the day when I was not allowed to look at anything D&D and I wanted something fantasy. Like for some reason that was always allowed. So like that was my safe place. Like all the weird, like the dragons that were like these weird puff balls with the long necks and like the overly detailed faces. I love that. It resonates with me as like that was my safe place as a child, and so I still love them. And when they come on, I'm like, we're gonna sit and watch this. I tried to show them my children, and they're like, "That's dumb, Dad." I'm like, you get out of my house. Yeah, I'm like, what's wrong with you? They're like, I'm gonna watch. You're grounded.
There is a way.
I'm old enough for The Hobbit, man. The original Hobbit.
Oh my gosh, the original Hobbit animation.
That was so creepy, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It was almost like children's illustrative style.
Yeah.
Yeah, for somebody who hated children, but it was still amazing.
Yeah.
It'll put you to sleep today. That original Hobbit cartoon. If you watch it, you'll just.
No. It
was
that
so great.
Activates that activates that childhood button in my brain, and I'm just like, this is the best thing ever.
Like it was so scary. Like when the goblins came in and they had like 2 throats, it was like horrific. I was like, this is amazing. I love it.
The goblins in the Hobbit, Rankin Bass Hobbit, were fat. They were chunky.
Yeah, but they were still terrifying.
They were frogs almost. They were almost amphibian.
Did you ever? Yeah. The Gollum was weird in that. But did you see? When you were younger, did you see the Kryn cartoons? You know, the Dragonlance series.
Oh,
I have seen the Dragonlance series, but it's
Kinder
the one
and all
with
that.
Kiefer Sutherland and all that. Like, I didn't see the They had a different Dragonlance cartoon.
They did. They had a Dragonlance cartoon with Tanis and all of them, and it was amazing. It's out there. You can look it up.
Well, is that the one with like Kiefer Sutherland played the voice of Raistlin?
I think maybe, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't. That rings a bell. I don't remember though.
Oh yeah, are you kidding? I have that one on like several devices.
See,
saved.
Raistlin is one of those words, and you said it just like I said.
Yeah,
But
I love
Raistlin.
Yeah, somebody
Is it Caramon or Carmen?
Caramon. Yeah.
The thing
Caramon,
I do,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I go to YouTube and I go to the Wizards channel, and whenever they talk about a module or a campaign setting, I just look up their videos and I'm like, oh, that's how you say it. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, as millennials and Gen X and anything pre-internet, there was a wonder to perhaps not being right or to not knowing something. It's like you just had to roll with it. You're like, okay, it's pronounced this way.
You know, we had the internet, fucker. Like, yes.
Oh yeah, when it was called ARPANET and the U.S. military used it to talk between nuke
No,
silos.
jackass. They had the internet in high school for Gen X. Go fuck yourself.
Yes, Genie and dial-up and modems.
Yeah, no,
and,
shut up. We had fucking internet. Stop reading.
I'm talking when you had Netscape and a UI, but you know what I mean.
Whatever.
If you didn't need to be in college to use it or a millionaire.
Yeah, we also had books, you dick. Like, we could look shit up.
Yeah. D&D books didn't have phonetic pronunciation.
Yes, they did in the dictionary. They had phonetic pronunciation.
No, he's talking about Dungeons and Dragons books that did not have phonetic pronunciation.
Did you have a TSR dictionary?
I have a Lord of the Rings dictionary with pronunciation.
I'm not talking Quenya, right?
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not talking Quenya. I'm not talking about Morgoth.
I just gotta say, Tolkien did the work.
He was a linguist.
How are we gonna settle an argument between nerds? I know. I'll make it a real language.
Not only was he a linguist, but he also was told people, I don't want people speaking.
We're upsetting
Quenya.
Ben. Stop arguing.
No, we're not upsetting anyone. I'm just saying that we're at the point where.
Busy girl by yourself. If we want to, we can go a little longer if you want.
No, we.
Might be that way.
We're at our point where we said that we needed to be done. Sadly, we will probably have another discussion
I
soon.
really would love
We didn't
to
get to the mental
reconnect
health
and do this
questions,
again.
Right.
I think
We only got
we
through
all
half
know
the
what-
questions, so. Anyways, we're coming up on time, so we're gonna wrap it up here, and we're probably gonna look into doing another session like this, or a collab, or maybe we'll do
Oh my
some,
god, that would be
maybe we'll
fun.
do some Call of Cthulhu or whatever, and
We should game together.
definitely.
I don't-
We're
I'm
gonna
not-
talk
these-
about it.
I'm a psychologist. These two are engineers. Like, they could handle the numbers. I am afraid of math, which is why I went into people.
Yeah.
So,
So-
I don't know if I've got the brain power for that.
Yeah.
So
No, I'd be willing. I'd definitely be willing to
we're
do it.
looking-
Joel goes into people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about doing another collaboration because I think this was really good, and we didn't
Oh my
even
God,
get through
this
half
is
the
one of the more
questions
fun.
that we agreed to talk about. So
Which we
Uh,
totally
Right. It's all good.
yeah, so
great.
We covered a lot of time.
so
We'd like to thank you guys for shouting out to us. We appreciated it. It was a great fit.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys is interview.
You have a very engaging channel. Like, and for everybody watching, like, go out and check out Original GM on YouTube. It's an engaging storyline. Like, I've checked out a couple of your videos, and I'm starting over. I'm starting the Shadow sessions to check out those and go from beginning to end and see what they have. I like it. I like what you have.
Yeah.
Like, it's very
Thank you,
engaging.
Joel.
yeah, so
Appreciate
And you can definitely fucking weave a tale. Like, that's for certain. Like, you can tell this is a passion project that you put into it. This isn't like where I run a campaign because I make it up and I'm, hallucinating for a little while. Like, this is like serious planning. and
I
shit.
told my parents years ago I'd make money.
so
You watch one day, I'll tell stories.
again,
My channel has
thank you.
exploded, you guys. I don't know what's going on. We reached like 150,000 in 30 days. We're on Instagram. It's crazy. I don't know what's happening. Something's happening.
Yeah.
Shit. We're not doing anything different. We're just doing what we always do. So
Hey,
we're excited.
Serendipity. It's paying off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consistency and that algorithm, once it falls in love with you, sticks with you. So,
So let's do some Cthulhu or something. This
Yeah.
has been the first time we've been live.
Yeah.
They were nervous about it. I think they're good now.
Yeah.
oh, they were so fun.
Yeah.
We all
You guys
live
are great.
together, so we're a band. We do music. That was our other passion, was music, and that's what we do. But besides D&D, but we're always available. So let us know if you guys want a game and do something. Let us know. I
I do
haven't
call it Cthulhu in a
played-
heartbeat.
I played 3 times since 1996. So
Well, it's about to be 4. Brendan, get your nerd head.
I would love to.
Yeah, we'll do.
I'd be honored.
Yeah. So again, we're gonna try and thank you again, Original GM, for joining us. As always, check our social medias. Check out Original GM's social medias. Where can they find you?
You can find us on YouTube at Original GM, or you can find us on Instagram the same. We got a TikTok, but we don't do much with it anymore. I don't think. I don't think I remember how to log on to the damn thing. We used to do it
Been there.
from adventure. It's somewhere out there, but yeah, no, Instagram and YouTube. YouTube's where we'd like you to go. So
Yeah. So as always, we'll be back again on Wednesday. We'll be continuing Candlekeep, and then on Monday we will be talking about. Since I forgot to bring it up on last week, we will be discussing the book The Dark Prism by Brent Weeks as a fan suggestion from one of our fans, Nate. Our first fan suggestion. It's a really great book. I already finished it, and it was like chef's kiss. I loved every second of it, so I'm really excited to talk about it. But again, thank you guys for joining us.
Good. And Brandon, get ready for a Call of Cthulhu on
Well-
Halloween or somewhere near that.
Ooh,
Oh my
we-
God,
we
I-
could probably
I'm
talk
gonna-
about it.
Theme it. That's
Let's talk
pretty-
about it. Let's talk back and
Yeah, yeah.
forth, fellas.
We'll talk. We'll
Pretty
talk offline about plans for future. I think this is going to be a really good collaboration, and we'll continue it in the future. Again, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.
All right.